If you have been struggling with your self-confidence for a bit, this video is for you because I would like to share with you how you can get your self-confidence back. That's right, I said back, and that is your first clue. And yes, I even put lipstick on for you, so this should be a good one. All right, and by the way, we're talking about bada bing, bada bang, New York style, like fast, okay? Because as a hypnotherapist, I typically get hired because none of those other things have worked, and then all of a sudden hypnotherapy does work, mostly for like self-confidence issues or even inner stress that people often battle with for years or even decades, don't know what to do with themselves, don't know how to help themselves, and then all of a sudden here we actually get results. So in regard to self-confidence, by the way, I'm not talking about the kind of self-confidence that comes from practicing and repetition and competence, okay? Because I think it's implied that if we want to be confident in a certain skill, in a certain place, maybe it's at work or sales or whatever it might be, there is no way one can get confident without actually practicing and doing the repetitions and refining their skills so that eventually they get competent, which then leads to confidence. Make sense? I'm talking specifically about when it comes to self-esteem, self-worth, because there are so many people in this world, adults, okay? Big people, I mean like adults, that really struggle with this. And this is actually not funny because it's sort of like this idea of I'm not good enough. They're constantly waiting for other people to approve of them or somehow give them permission, or they're waiting sort of for some sort of achievement or milestone for them to feel, oh, now I'm worth it. Now I can be confident. Now I can feel good about myself. This is the kind of confidence I'm talking about. This nagging, defeating sort of self-criticism that plays on in people's minds about how I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what if they don't like me, what if it doesn't work out, what if it's too hard, what if they reject me, what if I embarrass myself. So this, or even constantly thinking that other people have it figured out and I should just listen to them, and whatever opinion they have about me, they're right and I'm wrong. So it's kind of like this, if people look at you a certain way and they don't approve of you, it like shatters you, like you feel like broken into pieces, instead of like, hey, that's just somebody's opinion, no problem, and you just carry on throughout your day, right? That's the kind of confidence I'm talking about. And why do I say how you can get it back? Because as a hypnotherapist, remember, the first thing I typically do with my client is I want to help them understand this problem that you have. Let's find out, why is this problem even in your life? Why are you struggling with self-confidence? What caused it? So I want to go back to the root cause of, wait a minute, you are smart, you are brilliant, you are beautiful, you are capable, you are educated, you are talented, you are skilled, shall we go on? It's like your potential is just like incredible. You've jumped through all these hoops, right? Just to find out that now you're hitting this income ceiling, or now you're sort of like you are afraid to put yourself out there, or now you struggle with getting into a relationship. That makes no sense, right? So, number one, we get to the root cause of this, for example, confidence, self-confidence struggle. And guess what? Lo and behold, here's what we find every single time. Now, I've seen the patterns, I've seen the programs, I've paid attention, and guess what? Every single human being, okay, we as human beings, first of all, your mind is designed to be programmed. That is amazing news, okay? That's fantastic news. That means you as a human are actually a superhuman that is kind of sort of like a, please forgive, but this is the best analogy I can give you, like a computer, except you are like a computer on steroids. In other words, the limitless potential is your capability. I can't explain in words what that is. But you did not do the programming, meaning Every single human being, okay, you were born perfectly perfect. You were born already having resources, talents, skills, abilities, purpose, passion inside of you. You are literally a human being with a mission, a passion, a vision, and a message. That's a fact. But that self-confidence was shamed out of you from a very early age. And this is exactly what causes so many adults to struggle in their adulthood. Finally, when they get to live life on their terms, conditions, standards, definitions of success, all of a sudden, now they feel insecure. Now they wake up with anxiety every day. They doubt themselves. They have a hard time making decisions. They have a hard time putting themselves out there. Like, makes no sense. But it does, from my perspective, because from day one, you, in a sense, okay, and let me be kind and mild with this message here, okay? Even if, let's just say you assume that you didn't have any trauma as a child, you didn't have any drama, like you had a beautiful, happy childhood. Let's just assume and imply that, because that's what a lot of people try to convince me when after we have a bit of a conversation, they'll start to see otherwise. But let's just assume that, okay? And even if you had that experience, mostly you did experience from day one, covertly or overtly, through the messages of other people, through your experiences, through your environment, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, you're not lovable enough, there's something wrong with you, you're somehow broken, why can't you be more like so-and-so, why couldn't you pass that grade, why can't you be just polite? In other words, as a child, okay, regardless of the genius that you're born with, you have got to integrate into society, including the home that you grew up in, and then it's school, and then it's culture, and then it's society, and then it's all these other systems. Well, guess what? The first 20 years of your life, for the most part, you have been taught and actually forced to perform, conform, and obey. In other words, when you are a child, you don't get to live your life. You must, yes, you are forced to adhere to the standards that are imposed upon you, to the expectations that are imposed upon you. And that just to survive, okay, you as a child have to become a chameleon. You eventually learn, hey, this is how I have to be here, this is how I have to be there, this is what's expected of me here. And on top of all of that, you are constantly experiencing criticism, being judged, being corrected, how to be, how not to be. And most children, okay, most children don't have the experience that they felt important or wanted or needed or seen or heard, because from an early age you literally learn how to bend over backwards to make everybody else happy, just so you can get some approval in quotation mark, acknowledgement in quotation mark, and praise in quotation mark. Actually, that doesn't even warrant praise. What it does warrant is realizing that you just became a wonderful convenience because you played along with the program, you did what they expected of you to do, and therefore you got the praise. But think about the many times, and this is all in your unconscious, by the way, the many times you were not allowed to speak up, you were not allowed to cry, maybe you felt like a burden or a nuisance, maybe you felt like too much, maybe you were compared to siblings or other people. In other words, again, drip, drip, drip. This is where you learned that you're not good enough. And so therefore, you had to, okay, this is a very important part. Even though you knew inside what would have been right for you, the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, what you wanted to say, how you wanted to express, you knew it, you could feel it, but You also learned that what was the right thing to do just so that you can survive your environment was to suppress parts of you, repress parts of you, depress. Depression, sound familiar? It's an epidemic in our society today. Why though? Interesting, isn't it? So yeah, what do you think this might cause? If from early on, I don't even get to be who I am. I have to live other people's lives. So then, and imagine 20 years of that, the repetition of that. And then adults, perfectly grown up, whatever, okay, who literally, like, I don't even have the words. They then complain to me, why am I such a people pleaser? You know, why don't I have a backbone? Why can't I? Because what, like, you had 20 years of grooming and training, and yes, hypnosis of, guess what? You were born a perfect person turned into people pleaser. You were born a genius, and then they groomed us to be a factory worker who's very obedient, who says yes all the time. Make sure you stand in line, make sure you raise your hand. Oh yeah, don't forget permission, right? You have to ask for permission. And this is exactly why so many adults struggle with that, because when one is so used to conforming, performing, being a certain way just so everybody else can be happy, yeah, that should cause severe, not just a little bit, anxiety and depression. Just FYI, that anxiety and depression that people experience, I tell them on day one, that's healthy, that's intelligent. That is a message, okay? And that means you have some work to do if you want to break out of this. Because as an adult, right, of course, there's nobody you can ask permission. Everything's on you. You have to make the decisions. You have to take the actions. You have to have the vision. You have to have the idea. You literally have to, like, get to the conclusion of, wait a minute, this is my life. What is it that I even want? Not what do others expect of me. And how many adults have I worked with, their only mission in life is to make their parents proud. That just, that's for another day. So, and then they wonder why they're miserable. They wonder why they are depressed, why they don't even feel like themselves, why they can't get out of their own way. This is why, okay? You were born with greatness, but you were taught to shrink, to get out of the spotlight. You were taught that you're an inconvenience. You're too much, you're too bold, you're too loud. You, because of your light, because of your greatness, I now feel small. So there goes your greatness. Like I said, you were born a genius, right? But that too, because in our society, we were taught that we have to conform, that was a bit too much, too inconvenient. So remember, you are a walking, talking, breathing miracle, but you have been programmed. And this is the problem with self-confidence. So you now, as an adult, here's the brilliant, phenomenal, generous opportunity you have. You get to do the reprogramming should you want to restore your self-confidence, because I promise you, your self-confidence has never been missing. It has always been there, but it had to be suppressed. You see? And that is what is causing you a lot of stress. Does that make sense? Yeah, so again, really the goal, right? The point, how you can do that, think about it like this. Think about a basement, okay? Let's just say basement, right? It's implied that your confidence is already there. It's already at the root. It has always been there, okay? But right as of now, it is buried underneath a lot of stress, underneath a lot of self-doubt, underneath a lot of insecurity, underneath a lot of I'm not good enough, underneath a lot of, all the ways people have judged you and criticized you. And those things, by the way, they stick, they stick to you, and they will wear on you, and they will work on you, especially the first 7 years of your life, depending on how you were treated the first, mostly. I mean, this keeps going. Like I said, the 20 years, it's the next 14 years after that is just continuing the repetition. So, and that goes really, that becomes so embedded, right? So again, as an adult, you have this incredible opportunity to restore your self-confidence, get rid of all of the stress on all these projections from other people, on expectations from other people, on how you should be and how you shouldn't be, and how society tries to tell you and taunt you and tease you on what you should be doing with your life, when actually you get to make that decision. And by the way, when you do make that decision, just FYI, heads up, a little warning here, there are probably going to be people in your life that are not going to like it because you are causing a revolution. And the most of society just likes to keep things status quo. Let's not ruffle any feathers because we all were raised with the same program, right? But this is literally what is choking you every day. This is what has you just feeling, again, held back. Does that make sense? It's like this, you know that inside of you, you have so much more potential. You're meant for so much more. You have like this force inside of you, this power inside, like you know it because you feel it, and it's just like you know it. There's no convincing you, right? But you also know that something is holding you back. And you think, okay, you keep thinking that, oh, when I get the degree, when I finish school, when I have my business, when I have that perfect partner, when I accomplish, I don't know how much financial, then I will feel good enough. And that is an illusion. That's a trap. Because think about it, your whole life you've been doing that. You have already been striving and achieving and next milestone and how much more can I do? And, again, this whole factory worker, people pleasing, rat race, striving, being exhausted, feeling depleted, getting to that milestone, only to find out, wait a minute, that didn't work either. Because you can't find happiness and confidence on the outside. It will never meet you on the outside. It's impossible. It has to start from the inside. And once you find it there is nothing and nobody that can ever take it away. Not a force in the world, not even you can turn it off ever again. And when that moment comes, congratulations, because that's when you will actually start to live your life fully, completely, and wholly. All right, any questions? You know where to find me. I'll see you soon.